is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano TV. I'm so excited for you guys to be here for today, and I want to give a special shout out to our guest, actually. I'm just going to say it off the rip. Tucker, you are wearing the Superman cape today. He really stepped in last minute. I was supposed to do an event just to let you guys know, but that fell through. But you know what they say, everything happens for a reason. And I firmly believe that, something bigger or, something more fulfilling is on its way. So thank you, Tucker, so much for coming on and really taking the role of Superman today, man. I really do appreciate it. Hello to everybody watching this right now. Hi, Laurie. Hello, Lou. Hello, Jeanette. Damn, you guys are blowing it up already. I love it. Denise, Christopher. Oh, man. Christopher. So actually, I'll bring up how I found out about Tucker. I remember I co-hosted an autism special on Backroad Moments with Lauren Michaels Harris, and I saw Tucker on there. And there was something about, I don't know, his screen or just his presence or his energy that was like, wow, I need to get Tucker on the show. And what better day than today? I firmly believe that everything happens for a reason. So there was a reason that Tucker had to come on this time slot. And it's probably for something that a viewer may need to hear or somebody in the positivity posse. And can you guys drop a positivity posse in the chat, please? Because you guys always kill it. You guys always show up and you're always about that positive life. So that's what I'm talking about. Thank you guys so much for doing that. You guys really are truly amazing. And none of this, listen to what I'm about to say because you need to understand this. None of this is possible without your support and without your help. So make sure that when you're commenting, please comment under the Weekly Dose of Dano page so I can see all your comments, questions for Tucker. Because when I tell you guys, there is a reason why Tucker is a Ziglar certified, I think it's a keynote speaker, or he's going to come on to talk about everything about that. He's the master when it comes to that. So I'm just really, really excited to get the show started today, but you already know what we got to do before we bring Tucker on. We got to talk about the book. I forgot to open up the book while the commercials were playing just because I really wanted to kind of be in the moment and find out what the commercials are talking about, just a word from our sponsors. So thank you for that. Did something happen? I don't know if you guys can see, did something happen in the chat or did something happen with the broadcast? Because I saw the number of people go down and I see a comment that said, what happened? So, oh, well, we just got to continue through it. All right, there it is. Numbers back. So here we go. Oh, here it is. Yes, you froze. All right, so that just must mean that I should stop talking and talk about the tip for today. So Life's Little Instruction Book, 511 suggestions, observations, and reminders on how to live a happy and rewarding life. And you already know, I just opened up to a random page, and this is what happened. So Tucker is actually going to pick it for today. Tucker, I'm going to flip through, and when you say stop, I'm just going to stop, all right? So just put your hand up once you see it. Boom, right there. All right? There's so many, wow. There's so many good tips on this one. So I'm going to choose number 166. Right here, number 166, avoid negative people. And that's for somebody that they need to hear it in the chat. So here it is. 166, avoid negative people. I don't know if it keeps freezing. I hope it's not freezing because I see the number fluctuating by a good amount. But anyway, we still got to get through it. So there's so many reasons why we should avoid negative people. And to me, the main reason why I think we should avoid negative people is because if we have that negative energy around us, then to me, that affects our subconscious mind. And when our subconscious mind is at a low vibration, and that seeps up into our conscious mind, and when we have those negative thoughts around those negative people, then we're going to receive negative actions and negative consequences and circumstances into our life. So it goes back to the law of attraction, and you just really need to cut off that negative energy because you need to preserve yourself. Very early in the morning, what I always do is I like to fill up my cup all the way to the top and make sure that it overflows so that whoever it touches with that overflowing, juice or whatever you want to call it, positive energy, they can go about their day and they can spread that on to the next person and to the next person. And it's just going to be a beautiful, beautiful cycle. So right there, here it is, number 166, avoid negative people. And you guys should be ready because Tucker, I already know he's about to kill it with this tip and his perspective on everything. So I'm very excited. Tucker, what are you doing, man? Stop practicing your speeches. It's time to get on the show.
What up, buddy?
Tucker, man, let me tell you, thank you so much for stepping in today. It really was last minute. It was only a few hours ago that you accepted this position. So thank you, man. I really do appreciate it.
Hey, man, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you to everybody that's watching right now for joining us today on our little journey to change the world one show at a time and make the world a better place.
Yeah, man, you know it. So Tucker, man, right on the screen, you have to dive right into it. I already know you have so much brewing in your head right now. You have to talk about it. Why should we avoid negative people?
Oh, my goodness, man. Why should you not avoid negative people is probably a better question. I mean, there's all kinds of reasons. You don't want to go to jail for smacking nobody. You know what I'm saying? That's always a negative, you know. No, but realistically, there's actually a science behind why you should avoid negative people. So you've heard the saying, birds of a feather flock together. And that's very true. So when you're around someone who's being negative or is negatively charged, their blood is actually pumping out a chemical known as cortisol. And cortisol shuts down the immune system. It causes your fingernails to stop growing, your hair to stop growing. It's actually the reason that your hair goes gray. Hence why if you look at a picture of Obama when he first got elected and whenever he ended his term, he looks 100 years different. Well, it's due to the cortisol pumping through his blood constantly, stressing him out. So every time you're around somebody that's negative and they negatively charge you in some way, they're taking part of your life away from you. That's time that you could be doing something else. They're literally shortening your lifespan and opening up your body to disease. So is that a good answer? Because that's definitely a good reason to keep negative people out of your life.
Oh, yeah, 100%. And Tucker, man, that's probably why you're looking so young and vibrant right now, man. I love it.
It is.
Yeah, and when I tell you guys, Tucker, we were having a conversation earlier about quantum physics. And let me clarify, when I say we were having a conversation, Tucker was taking the lead on it. I was just listening because I don't know too much about it. So when I tell you that Tucker is full of wisdom, please, guys, if you need to take out your notepad and write some notes, do it, because this is going to be chock full of golden nuggets, and you're not going to be the same after you leave this. Now, Tucker, a big reason why I believe people don't eliminate that negative energy is because people get comfortable and they become, let's just say, best friends with the person, because they say that opposites attract, and I don't know how true that is. Maybe in the science field, yes, but I don't know. So what advice would you give to somebody that has a best friend or maybe a close family member that is negative, but they just don't know where to take that first step?
First of all, raise your standards, because I've been there. My best friend in the world when I first got into this industry, she was the most negative person I'd ever met in my life. And when I would do live streams like this, we were roommates, and she would be sitting on the other side of the camera, like making fun of me the whole time I'm doing it because I'm being positive. And she's like telling me I'm a loser and all these different things. And at the same time, we're still like the best of friends. And it was such this weird relationship. And it got to the point, because that was my biggest struggle, is how do I cut off this person that means so much to me and not come across as a pompous ass? You know what I mean? Like realistically. And it's like this. Look, first they're going to laugh, because they always do. Then they're going to watch, and then they're either going to ask you how you did it or they're going to walk away. Okay? So my answer to you on how to cut somebody off like that is raise your standard and have a standard of yourself that doesn't allow people to disrespect you, that doesn't allow people to bring you down. You got to know your caliber. Imagine a 50 caliber bullet and you're trying to put it in a 22 and you're wondering why you don't fit in. Well, it's not the right caliber. All right. You got to know your lane, baby. You got to know exactly. You got to know your worth. Surround yourself with people who have a perceived value of you that's higher than your perceived value of yourself. Mm-hmm. And when you start doing that, things are going to change. Honestly, until you do that, there ain't nothing. You can't do nothing about it. You got to just put your foot down and you got to say, look. Whether you do it in a rough way or you do it in an easy way, one way or another, you got to be like, look, hey, I need to work on myself, and that's going to require me taking time to myself. And if you love me as a friend, please give me this time and distance. Mm-hmm. Don't even have to make it personal if you don't want to, you know?
Yeah.
But it has to be done.
Yes, 100%, man. I firmly believe that. And a lot of people might use the guilt trip to say, oh, well, you're being selfish or you're being standoffish. But sometimes you need that, man. I said it earlier. You have to fill up your cup, because if you keep giving, what are you going to have at the end of the day to yourself? You're not going to have anything left for yourself.
There's a spot in my book that actually talks about that. It says, in fact, let me see.
Well, first you gotta put the book up to the screen, man. You gotta let everybody know about it.
All right, 1 second. So the book is The Plate That Broke the World: One Man's Journey into the Ego. It is mine. Okay, I published it, and it went number 1 on Amazon. Like as soon as we launched it, so that was really cool. And I honestly, I can't even take all the credit for that, because it's all of like people like your fan, like those watching right now. If it wasn't for y'all supporting me, I would have never been able to even finish this thing, because Lord knows writing a book ain't easy. But The Plate That Broke the World, it says one man's journey into the ego, and until you read it, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But realistically, it's a guide on how to live in the moment, how to come back to the moment, how to let go of the loop. And you said in there, you got to focus on yourself and not put so much energy on others. And on page 22 in my book, it says that we often exert exhausting amounts of energy on simplifying the lives of others while complicating our own in the process. This is not a fault in your code, but a gift that's energy has yet to be properly focused. I will never tell you not to help people, because there's no greater purpose than service to others. What I will suggest is that you bless people along your path to self-development and independence, but do not alter your path tending to someone else's garden only to see your roses wither. So you can take time to help people, but don't let your own garden die in the process. And here's the thing, those people, the best friend you was talking about, look, some of the most beautiful weeds on the planet, some of the most beautiful flowers on the planet grow out of weeds. And they may be beautiful, but those weeds, if not properly tended to, will wrap around and drain the life out of everything in your garden. And you have to at some point put your foot down and say, what's more valuable to me? Is it what you call a friendship that's not mutually beneficial at the end of the day anyway? Or is it my growth, which is going to allow me to bring up my family, my friends, and help people along the way? Because if you're not the version of yourself that you're supposed to be, well, how can you expect people to be impacted the way that they're supposed to be in your presence?
Of course. Yeah. And the way that you just phrased that was so beautiful. And I have so many questions as far as this book. And I know you guys can feel that energy going. Tucker just went in the preacher mode. Can I get a hallelujah in the chat? I mean, wow, that really, really, truly spectacular stuff, man. The way that you're able to take all of this, I would say, complex information and to put it in the way that is easily understandable. Now, when you were writing this book, were you very confident when you first picked up your pen and when you first opened up your Word document on your computer? Were you confident? Could you really tell us about the process in writing your book?
Believe it or not, man, I was exhilarated. So this book, the concept came to me. It talks about this in the book, but I was having an argument with. I was in a bad relationship, a really, really bad relationship, and I was trying to psychoanalyze everything and figure out what in the world was going on. And when I sat down to write this book, it was an aha moment. I couldn't spit it out fast enough. Like, I'm just sitting there like, dude, I removed like 3 or 4 chapters from the book. This book is only 40 pages long. I did that on purpose. I made it a quick and easy read, so it's quick and easy to consume. And for those of y'all out there that have to have it, there's pictures, okay? So, like,
yeah.
It was, when I sat down, it was one of those aha moments where I was like, I even came to her, even though she's sitting there, I'm like, I don't care. This is amazing. We're going to change so many people's lives. Oh my God.
Did you get her the first copy?
No, she got one of them, but I don't think she's ever read the book. I took out a few of the chapters that told why I wrote it.
Mm-hmm. That's right. At the end of the day, that's her loss, because if she's still in the same place and here you are, Zig Ziglar certified, speaking all over the world, throwing your own events, that's how you can really tell that this stuff really works.
Absolutely, man. Hey, the book, at the end of the day, if you want just one, there's so many lessons in it, but if you want a really core lesson from the book, it's break your loops. So we all get stuck in these loops in our head that derive of 3 things, that you'll find them driving down 3 lanes: shoulda, coulda, and woulda. I shoulda done this when that mother did. I woulda popped him in the. I coulda. And when you catch yourself doing that, you ain't never the victor in that story. It just plays over and over again. You change the scenario every time, and then you start flooding your body with those chemicals, cortisol, and things like that. And you ever heard someone say, "Bruh, don't make me get stupid"?
Yeah.
Like, you ever heard that?
Yeah, of course.
When you get angry, your IQ drops by over 90%. Meaning, when you're mad, you're an idiot. And not only are you dying, like, because you have no immune system and you're just destroying your body, you're drinking poison and hoping that it kills the enemy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that perfectly ties into one of the questions that I actually have written down here, because I'm not going to lie to you, I kind of cheated a little bit. I did my homework on you a little bit before. Just a little bit. Do you feel like anger, and this might be, it ties in perfectly. Do you think that anger is a pointless emotion?
No.
What place do we have for it?
I think that it is a destructive emotion, but so is nuclear energy when it's used wrong. Mm-hmm. So anger, here's the thing. Until you get so disgusted and angry with yourself for where you are in your life that you want to change to the point to where you'll do anything that it takes to make that change, you're never going to change, because it takes you throwing some fits. It takes you getting mad at yourself. It takes you going down a road that leads you where you don't want to be. You've fallen on your face. And if there was never any anger, if you never had any way of like that switch flipping, then I don't think at any point you would get agitated with yourself enough to make a change, honestly. But in relationships, keep it out. In business, keep it out. In professional situations and social situations, I don't think it's needed or required. It's not even good when you're fighting. Like, it makes you stupid, and you can't fight as good when you're angry.
Yeah, I agree. One of the things that I guess to add to your point, and even though I asked the question, I kind of had, some things brewing up in my head as well, is that what's anger without happiness? You need that perfect balance in you, right? What's this without that? What's clean without dirty? So
Yin and yang.
yeah, exactly. That's the perfect way to describe it. Now, as far as we're going to be, like I said, I like to go really whatever flows and whatever.
Hey, go for it, brother. I'm an open book. And so is this one.
Open book. I was just about to say, just like yours. So how did you discover the law? This is a two-part question.
Okay.
How did you discover the law of attraction? And at what point did you realize, okay, this is 100% real, and I firmly believe in it?
Woo! That's a question, ain't it? Oh man. So I'm not 100% sure where I first heard about the law of attraction, but I know that it was on a YouTube video. Because that's where I was introduced to TED Talks, which is what inspired me to be a keynote speaker. I didn't even know keynote speaking and public speaking was a thing. I didn't know the motivation industry existed until about like 7, 8 years ago. Okay. Excuse me. About 2018. So about 2015. So not even that long ago. All right. And I was watching a video, and the principles in there kept saying that if you speak something as it is, then it'll already happen. Then it'll happen. And then I read a book. I remember. I read a book called Millionaire Mind. I don't remember who the author is, but it's called Millionaire Mind. And the book is all about law of attraction. And in the book, it even has mantras where you're saying, I have a millionaire mind. I think like a millionaire. I am a millionaire. Like these different things. And then I started applying these principles to keynote speaking. I was like, I would go to my room every night. I worked on a racetrack with horses, and I lived in a barn. And I would go to my room in the barn every single night, and I would stay up until midnight, if not 1 o'clock in the morning, giving speeches to the walls, and until it put chills down my own spine, and just like. And I got to this point where I could almost feel this energy just exerting from the top of my head and coming from my shoulders. And I was like, I can do this. Like, this is real. And then all of a sudden, I didn't let no one knew I wanted to be a speaker. I got a call from the Backside Learning Center, which is a place on the racetrack that helps people like get their citizenship and things like that. And they said, would you mind giving a keynote on Millionaires Row at the Kentucky Derby in Louisville, Kentucky? I was reading Millionaire's Mind and talking about being a keynote speaker. And my very first time speaking was on Millionaires Row at the Kentucky Derby. And we got up there, and we were trying to raise like $10,000 for the Learning Center. And I'm up there, and the number counter is behind me. And I'm sitting there doing my little talk, inspiring everybody, this, that, and other. And then I hear everybody go, whoa! And I turn around, and it's at like $80-something thousand. And so ever since, I was like, I think I might be good at this. I'm gonna do that.
That's an incredible stage to be on for your first time speaking. That's how I firmly believe that you were there. You were put there for a reason, and that kind of was the catalyst that started your career. Now, as far as, did you always believe in yourself with this first, with the first speech, let's say you ever had? Did you always believe in yourself, or did you have other people believe in you and then you started to believe in yourself? Talk about the dynamic about that, and at what point did you just decide, hey, I know I can do this, and that's the end of the story?
So it's been a roller coaster, honestly. I think that the greatest fun in this world is when things don't always stay on the upcline, because the roller coaster is fun, but while it's going up, it gets kind of boring sometimes. It's got to go down every now and then for you to gain some momentum and actually be able to take the loop-de-loop. You know what I'm saying? So I got a lot of loop-de-loops. All right. And I done came off the tracks a few times, lost a few wheels, threw some grease in that thing. You know how it goes. So when I first heard my first TED Talk, it was Start With Why by Simon Sinek. And it's a powerful talk if you haven't seen it. And I knew in that instance that I could do it, but I also had that voice in the back of my head that was going, hey, you're an Aspie. Like, I have Asperger's. It's a neurological abnormality that hinders my natural communication abilities. And a voice in the back of my head's going, like, who do you think you are? You can't even speak to one person or one or two people at a time without having anxiety issues. What makes you think you can speak to 100 or 10,000? And as arrogant as this sounds, like at the end of the day, I had to stand up within myself and say, who do I think I am? I'm Tucker fucking Bearden. That's who I am. All right. You know what? And
that was perfect timing. Amazing timing. You see that? As soon as you said that popped up right at the same time. So there you go. Confirmation.
Yes, it's confirmation, baby. Y'all get it popping in the comments. Look, y'all do me a favor. Bro, Dano, it's your show, but I'm taking over for a second. If y'all are live, do me a favor, drop a hashtag live. If y'all see
I think he's going to take over once he gets done lagging. I think you're lagging a little bit. Y'all there?
I'm still lagging. Hey, I'm still here, man. I'm still good. Hey, I don't know. But, hey, look, if y'all are live, drop a hashtag live. If you're on the replay, drop a hashtag replay. And if you're finding value from this, drop a hashtag value bomb. You know what I'm saying? There we go. Hey, that's what I'm talking about, everybody. But yeah, so Lauren Harris was my first. I think I was his first coaching client, honestly. He's been the biggest push in my life to keep doing this. Him and my buddy Joshua Colella, he's a brother of mine. And those two have been huge in my life because I ain't gonna lie, man. Like I said, it's that roller coaster. In the beginning, you start out and you got that fire and you're like, man, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take over the world. And then you get into the reality of doing it and you're like, yeah. It ain't easy. And so at first I had nobody. For the first year that I was thinking about doing it, I had nobody backing me, nobody pushing me to do it because I was kind of doing it in private. But once I went public with it, everybody jumped on board. Everybody was there. Everybody was like, holy crap, you can do this. And it's been hard to believe that, honestly, with because you get stuck in that pride between your ego and your self-worth. You don't want to be egotistical and go, you know what? I am the greatest. I can do this. Ain't no one going to step to me on stage. You don't want to be like that, but at the end of the day, you got to be like that in yourself. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's, man, I think that's one of the key things is that confidence factor, because once you have that, everything else gets set off. Your drive, boom, goes off like a rocket. Your actions, boom, goes off like a rocket. Everything follows behind that belief in yourself, just to say, okay, I can do this. Nothing's gonna stop me. And it's a sticky trap, like you said. It's a double-edged sword depending on how you use it. But we're a little bit over the halfway mark of the show, and we got to get a quick word in from our sponsors. But when we come back, I want you can either there's two questions that are battling in my head right now.
When you come back, you ask me whichever one speaks to your purpose.
Exactly, yeah. So give me a few minutes to think about this. If you haven't already, please share this stream. Please share this episode. I hope that everybody's getting the golden nuggets, because even right now, I don't know if you saw me, I've been writing down some of the stuff you said, and I'm going to take this going with me going forward. But please share it. Leave your comments. Drop a hashtag Positivity Posse, and don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back with more of this great content. Let's go!
Except I received this insight about a title called Prisoner of War. The book.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you for the word from our sponsors. I have a piece of hair on my lip. I think it's an eyelash, but anyway, we're going to keep moving. So Tucker, man, you were just talking about that roller coaster, right? And everybody starts to have this idea in the beginning. They fall off. Do you have any tips on how to extend that first fall off to make sure you get as much as possible? To me, it kind of sounds like, you know, when you see Olympic divers, when they take that first dive and then they go and then they go and then they need that breath of air. How do you extend, or how do you fight through the negativity to make sure that you have that drive for as long as possible? Because I know it's inevitable, but how do you keep it going?
Honestly, I think a belief system and a routine are key, because you need a solid foundation of what it is that you believe, because you can it's kind of like saying, I want more money. I mean, well, if you want more money, here's $1. You know what I mean? But you say, I want to make $10,000 a month by this date, this, that, and another. Well, then you're being more specific and you have a goal in mind, but then that's not enough. You can't say, well, I want to start a business and and I don't want to be in the 9-to-5 job. That's why I'm going to do it. Well, I mean, that might be motivation enough for most people, but for some people, but it ain't for most. Otherwise, we wouldn't have people working 9-to-5s, you know? So I think it's a belief. You have to have a solid belief in what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it. It's like Simon Sinek says, you have to start with why. Don't start with what you do. Start with why you do it. Because when you start with why you do it, then you're already breaking barriers that are outside of that. You know, you're already breaking the barriers that if you got to, without starting with your why, you'd have to figure out why you got to get around this. You know, for me, I want to buy my father a house. I don't want my family to ever have to work again. I want the freedom to be able to do things like this whenever I want to do things like this, inspire people, travel and speak to people. And because on every stage and every show that you're on, there's one person in the audience that needs to hear what you have to say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're not there just because they wanted to. You got viewers that have no idea who I am, have never met me before. But there's potentially something that we're going to say in communication here that is going to change their life forever.
Yeah.
And see that, like, that right there is my why. So I think that's how you maintain momentum, is come back to focus. And really that's what my book is about, is coming back to focus, living in the moment, remembering why you do things. Stop getting into the loops that get you out of it, because what breaks you off of the pattern and throws you off track are those loops. You start telling yourself a story. You start, and eventually you begin to believe it.
Yeah.
And you can feed one or two wolves, the good one or the bad one. It's up to you.
Yeah, and the big lesson that I've learned is, I'm pretty sure, obviously, you know, the guru, I call him the guru, Tony Robbins talks about that all the time. Wherever focus goes, energy flows. And I like to say that on the show because it's 100% like you just said. If you tell yourself, oh, well, you know, I'm fat, or you ask yourself bad questions too. Well, oh, I'm fat, I'm never going to get this, I'm never going to be a millionaire, I'm never going to get in shape. Then you're right. Whatever you choose to believe, whether it's true or not, is what's going to happen. And, you know, the biggest thing that I believe that people really aren't transparent about is kind of the perils and the obstacles that they have to face. You know, with the addition of social media and how popular it is nowadays, everybody wants to show that, okay, well, my life is perfect, I don't have any flaws, I don't have this or that in the negative space. Now, Tucker, I know that you're 100% transparent and honest with everything that you like to do. Can you talk about what the hardest part of your growth was? Because I remember we were having this conversation earlier in the green room, or it might have been earlier this morning.
Yeah.
I remember you were saying, hey, listen, like, I used to curl up in a ball going back and forth. And I think you also mentioned the term nonverbal, to now speaking in front of thousands of people. What was the hardest part of your growth to get to where you were, to where you are right now?
I think honestly believing it's possible, because, you know, my anxiety, my social anxiety was debilitating. I couldn't make friends. I couldn't go out to eat with my family and be comfortable. I still have trouble doing that to a degree. You know, I couldn't go to Walmart and shop for my own clothes. It was like a little over a month ago, I went shopping by myself for the first time. I went and bought my own first set of clothes by myself for the first time in 28 years. And that was huge for me, man. And it was like, well, it wasn't easy, but it was necessary. And I think the hardest part for me was just breaking the belief system, you know, because everything that happens to you on a social, like anxiety level or depressive level, people say, well, it's due to a chemical imbalance. Depression can be due to a chemical imbalance in the brain. That's very true, but you can control the chemicals. You can force certain chemicals to release, and you can prevent certain chemicals from releasing based on thought patterns and subconscious programs. And my biggest thing was reprogramming the subconscious, because until you convince the subconscious that there's no tiger on the other side of a conversation, like that's where anxiety comes from. Is like is our instinctive fight or flight response. There's no freaking tiger. Like, you know, I mean, no one is judging you, and even if they are, it doesn't matter, because that was my biggest problem in social scenarios. Is for some reason I was telling myself all these stories that everyone around me is judging me, looking at me, and all these different things, and it would cause me to panic. Yeah. And once I realized that even though it's hard, you can reprogram those subconscious programs. Yeah. You can switch the lane. What is that?
I'm starting to read that right now. It's called, I mean, with me, you know, I want to receive more money. There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So what I'm doing is reading this book, Grow Rich with the Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And everything that you've been talking about, how it is possible to reprogram it, it really is true. And there's science behind it. Why do you think, I believe it was Megan Trapp. Now, I don't remember verbatim the statistic, but I'm going to give you a ballpark number because I'm pretty sure this is right. She said only around 5% of the people in the world, because she learned this from some program that she did, I think it was NLP. But anyway, she said that only 5% of people in the entire world work on personal development. Tucker, why do you think that number is so low?
I think that's due to social engineering, honestly. This is going to sound a bit conspiracy-ish, but it's our society is engineered to produce potatoes like factory workers. It's not, our educational system is not designed to produce leaders. It is not designed to teach you how to grow at all. In fact, it's designed to program you into a 9-to-5 job and give you the essentials to work an assembly line, and that combined with the fact that look at the generation that raised the generation that we're looking at right now. Mm-hmm. They came from the Great Depression, and the Great Depression, we can discuss all day long what did or didn't cause it, but either way, what it did cause was a wave of scarcity in the mindset of the masses. Mm-hmm. We as a people are falling short on the generation that is to come. And I believe that ignorance is where this comes from. Now, is it conscious ignorance? Probably not. Most people don't even know. Like, I didn't until I saw that TED Talk, I didn't know the motivation and self-development industry existed.
Yeah, seriously. And I don't mean to cut you off really quick, but it touches on the same point. I didn't even know what I just said was incorrect. Not that it was incorrect.
It's Lord.
He said manifest abundance. Don't manifest. I'm gonna let you finish, but it's like you said, I didn't even know that I just did that only 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, but man, honestly, that's my answer. I think it's just the generation that's raising this generation and the lack of education in the world. Because you look at inner city kids, for instance. There's a lot of factors that we could go into that lead them to ending up in prison or dead or in the streets. But let's be blunt. It's a lack of education, and not going to school education. It's this. Like real great education, like teaching them principles and morals and things of that nature. And in today's time, I think they're used to, we got people that depend on welfare and they don't want to go out and better themselves. They want that handout. And we're growing a society of people like that versus people that want to step out of their comfort zone and create something.
Now, wait. You mean to tell me that the Pythagorean theorem is absolutely pointless in the real world? No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke. Yeah, of course it is. I haven't used it ever since high school, man. So I totally agree with you. It totally is. And, for me, I'll tell you this. If you don't have a trained profession that you want to go into, like, being a nurse or a doctor or a lawyer, with all the information, YouTube University and all these courses that I don't believe that college is totally necessary. It just depends on what you want to do. And you were talking about the state and use the word world. And that is a perfect segue into my next question for you is, and there might be so many things that flood your mind with this question, but in your opinion, Tucker, what is the number one thing that the world needs right now? And I know this is I'm going to give you some time to think because there's so many different things that could be popping up.
Well, that's a great question, and I want to respect it with a great answer. So I could be wrong. I often am. But I think that the world right now needs communication more than ever. We need true lines of communication. Lauren Harris says it all the time. The truth has a ring to it, and it draws people in. And we ain't gonna get into everything going into the news, but you know what I mean. But look at the media. I mean, in any instance, at any time in history, the media draws people away from communication. And today, honestly, these things that are supposed to connect the world more than easier than it's ever been connected before are the number one reason we're disconnected from each other. It says social media, but it should be called anti-social media. Honestly, because that's the reason. I was a door-to-door salesman for the last 2.5, 3 years. And let me tell you something. If you want anybody that has experience in walking up to strangers and seeing if they'll talk to you, I can tell you that because of Facebook, they don't do it anymore. It's strange. So I hope that answers your question. We need genuine, heartfelt, like real communication, not emojis and hashtags.
Yeah, and I feel like with the power that the tech companies do have, thankfully, when it's used in the right way, that's the only reason why we're coming together right now and doing this thing virtually. We're on Amazon Fire, Roku, Facebook, YouTube, all these places. When it's used correctly, it really can change the world, and it can make it a very beneficial place for anybody that needs to see it. But there's also that same, other side of the coin where, if you don't use it right and you start to get censored, or you might get canceled, or you use it for, drama and negativity, then it really does hurt everything. So, I mean, I agree with you.
Not to interrupt you, but dude, cake is delicious. I love cake, but eat cake every day. Don't control yourself and see where you end up.
And even though that may sound very simple, you can just apply that to really anything. If you overindulge in anything, whether it's good or bad, it's not healthy. It's the yin and yang concept comes back. Now, we only have a few minutes left in the show, around 8 minutes. There's one question that I always sign off with. And I ask everybody this because this is one, to me, is the most important question that I could possibly ask for all spectrums and all perspectives of life. And the question is this: for somebody that's watching this right now, and they're in their deepest, darkest time, and they're looking for you, I know that's a lot to put on your shoulders, but they're watching this and they're looking for some advice. What is the number one best piece of advice that you can give to them in order to help them pull themselves, or you can pull them out of that dark place?
Well, first, no one can pull you out of anything. At the end of the day, it is up to you. We talked about raising our standards earlier, and I'm not going to bombard you and be a bully by saying, oh, well, quit being a crybaby, raise your standards and just get up and do it, because I've been there. And I wholeheartedly understand the struggle. I'm not going to disrespect you, your viewer. Whoever you are, I'm not going to disrespect you by saying I understand what you're going through, because I probably don't. I've probably never been there. But regardless of whether I've been there, I've walked through the valley of darkness, and I know what it's like to face those fires. Just please keep in mind, the strongest steels are truly forged in the hottest fires. And without the darkness, the light holds no value. Look at Dano's background. What do you see? You see stars. Those stars, none of them would be visible if the light was shining. The brightest star in the sky can only be seen on the darkest nights. And if you right now you're struggling with depression, anxiety, maybe you're struggling in your business, no matter where it is, please keep in mind, you don't receive in this world what you deserve. You may be a great person and bad things happen to you. It's because you will never get what you deserve. You receive in this world an exact proportion to that of two things, that of which you give and that of which you are currently capable of managing. If you can't manage an acre of land, don't expect to own a farm. If you can't manage $100, don't expect to be a millionaire. Learn to manage what you can while you can, and more will be granted to you. Go out and bless somebody. You say, I don't have the money to bless somebody. Go make somebody feel good. Go out and tell somebody that they're beautiful. Text somebody. In fact, all of you watching today can do this. There's somebody in this thing right here. There's somebody you haven't talked to in a while. Text them right now. Text them and say, I love you. And don't put any other context to it. Don't tell them why. Just do it. Be the blessing for others and you'll live within blessings. I will leave you with this. This is my motto. This is what I live by. If you can go out and be the spark that lights the way through the darkness for even one person a day in any shape, form, or way, it won't matter if your name isn't remembered throughout history or you don't get rich in the process. Your entire life will have been worthwhile. So thank you for having me on the show, Mr. Dano. It truly has been a blessing.
Oh, yeah, 100%, man. And like I said, I'm just absolutely amazed, and not really amazed because I knew that you were capable of doing this, but just the way that you're able to just throw everything together. Because one of the things that I find to be pretty difficult is you have these ideas and you know what you need to talk about, but it doesn't really come out the same way. So I firmly believe that you have a gift, man, of lighting the world up. And this is why you speak on the stages, man. You just blew me away. You blew my mind, man. So thank you so much. I hope everybody on the show right now just, wow.
Hey, by the way, before I leave, if anybody wants one of these, hit up Dano and he can hit up me, or y'all can message me on Facebook.
Is this the website?
The platethatbroketheworld.com has the ebook, but come on, you know you want a signed copy. Holler at me.
And then where can people follow you on social media?
So I'm actually starting to do more on TikTok now.
Okay.
So I'm on TikTok. I do little motivational things on there and funny videos as well. I'm on YouTube. You can look me up. They call me the Backwoods Buddha. So you can find me on YouTube, or you can just literally Google, where is it? Right there. Yeah, there we go. How you do that? I saw someone do this the other day.
Right there. I'll give you some help.
Yeah. Put a pin on it. It's somewhere. All right. Google my name. If you can't find me in Google, you can't find me. I dominate the first 50 pages of Google.
That's what I'm talking about, man. And seriously, thank you so much. I don't think you really understand how much you helped me out, how much you helped the right here, the hashtag positivity posse, how much you helped us out today, and how much you helped yourself out. Because when you come on and do different things like this, and you're planting the seeds throughout the world and throughout the universe, so you're giving them a chance to grow. So it's no wonder why you're spread throughout the first 50 pages of Google and why you dominate it, because you're constantly trying to grab that market and to really help all these people understand that they're not alone. And another reason is that they can do it. You can do it. Look at Tucker for an example. And that was one of the things in his in the bio that you sent me. If Tucker can do it, anybody can do it. If I can do it, really anybody can do it. And one more point before we go, before you sign up for the weekend, because I know you want to get your weekend started early with your partying or whatever you have going on. Everybody doesn't have it worse, or nobody has it better. We all have it different. So don't think that just because you've gone through more things or more bad situations or experiences that you're out of the game, or that you can just count yourself out. No, we all have it different. And just because you may see somebody that has more money than you doesn't necessarily mean that they're happier, or if they have the cars, the women, whatever it may be. You have the opportunity today, right now, after you get off of this, to go change your life. Start by listening to some positive music, some positive affirmations, And make sure you meditate too. That's a big one for me. So thank you so much, Tucker. I really do appreciate it, man. You were absolutely fantastic. Go pick up a copy of The Plate That Broke the World. And I hope that everybody has a fantastic weekend, because we're using all of this positive energy as a community to really take it into the weekend, to really go have some fun while we're not worried about the stress of work or anything that may be looming over our heads. So thank you so much, Tucker, man. I really do appreciate it. I hope everybody has a great weekend, and be great. I better see y'all next week for another episode of Weekly Dose of Dano, because we have another fire guest, and you can only find the content here. Make sure to share the video and share the episode, and I hope everybody has a great weekend. Thank you so much. Wait. I forgot to sign off. Let's go!